Hey everybody, and welcome to the Build with Baer workshop. I'm holding a shark. Its mouth moves when I do this. And we're waiting for a few more folks to join us before we start building. But I wanted to say hello. Hello. Yeah, so we're working on the Garmadon, which is a big mechanical shark that's mostly shaped like Hello Harold. It's mostly shaped like it's going to be like, especially when we finish the back, like it's a submarine, but it also has legs, so it can walk on land, and that's silly in a way that I really enjoy. And the very last thing we did on Thursday was complete the joint so the mouth moves like this. Hello, Road, and welcome. I'm going to throw the Bear Cave emote in there. Road, throw the Bear Cave emote in. Um, so it's a walking trench kind of. Sin, I think calling it like like a Iron Brigade type deal would be totally reasonable. Yeah, um, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool shark thing. I like the eyes on the side. Um, uh, hello, Epic. Hello, Asmo. Hello, Lashbrook. Welcome, welcome. Some good folks here in the chat. It's always nice. We're going to wait a couple more minutes, see if a few more folks want to join us. This is our second stream of the year, second build stream of the year. Very happy to have you. I also do want to, say that we have both our hot dog noodle cart that we built, which is a fantastic thing. The hot dog noodle cart. See, it's got the noodle on the top there and the hot dog there. Uh, and also our hot dog minifig friend, who has two faces, and I went with the that's a big shark robot. Oh no. Hello, Bear Steak, and welcome. Some fine folks here in the chat. Lovely to have you here. I'm looking forward to doing some building, talking some anime, talking about what's going on in the world, whatever we want to chat about. But yeah, we got our hot dog cart person. Does the hot dog cart only have mustard? No, it also has ketchup. It has both ketchup and mustard. Does not have relish, but it has ketchup and mustard. Lashbrook says, I got the kits today, Pat. I got to say, excellent packing job. Well, thank you very much. I do work hard on that. For folks that don't know, when I mail out my kits, obviously the kit is built, and I want you to have the box it came in as well. So what I normally do is, for model kits, particularly Lego sets, I can be a little less particular with that. But when it comes to model kits, like Gundams, in particular, or Dragon Ball figures, I wrap those in packing material, and then I try to finish the box out, and then I try to use like stuffing or newspaper or something in the actual box I'm shipping, just to kind of keep things moving, from moving around a lot, because especially with Gundams, like the 1/100 scale Gundams are still going to like move around a lot. And there's going to be some assembly required. Like I take the wings off, I take the weapons off. I try to do my best to make it so that packing things are going to be okay. But I maybe go a little overboard when it comes to that stuff, but I'm doing my best. Epic says, and we're going to get to building in a moment, but I want to let a few people join us. We already got 10 viewers, which is rad. Epic says, unpopular opinion, ketchup on hot dogs is gross. Well, I will say this. I don't know if it's popular or unpopular. I disagree. In fact, I don't like mustard on anything. So that includes hot dogs, because I don't think mustard's good. But I do like ketchup on several things. Now, I'm the kid that when my mom prepared ham steaks, I would put ketchup on my ham steak. And I know that many people would say, fuck off to that. And I respect that and I appreciate that. I don't think I've had ketchup on ham in quite some time. But that is a thing that I liked on a ham steak. Was a little bit of ketchup. I don't know. And I wouldn't put ketchup on mashed potatoes, but I have put plenty of ketchup on potato cakes, latkes, or even take leftover mashed potatoes and frying them up the next day in a little patty. Put a little ketchup on there with your eggs. Fantastic. Barbecue sauce underrated on hot dogs. I will agree about that. Epic. I think barbecue sauce is a condiment that people have pigeonholed. Asmo says 2019, the year this chat became 50% anime, 50% hot dogs. I mean, having a hot dog person and a hot dog cart and hot dog everything. Let's go to the overhead shot. Um, that is certainly increasing our January hot dog conversations. I don't know if it's going to continue once we finish this kit, but certainly right now we discuss hot dogs. Ketchup is good on certain hot dogs, especially processed ballpark types. Yeah, I mean, when you're getting a crummy hot dog, you got to do what you can. Best anime hot dog. Just kind of go for chili if I'm doing hot dogs. Well, that's what I was about to say. The chili dogs in the Adventures of Sonic and Tails. I think that's what it's either Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog or Adventures of Sonic Tails. It's the Saturday morning cartoon Sonic the Hedgehog. No, sorry, the syndicated cartoon Sonic the Hedgehog, not the ABC Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, which was dark. And this is the cartoonish one where it was Sonic T Hedgehog. It took less than 8 minutes to get to Sonic. Road, first of all, high road. And second, I don't get to Sonic that often, honestly. Yeah, it was not the post-apocalyptic one that came out. It was the one where I believe Sonic was voiced by the gentleman that played Steve Urkel. I believe. But yeah. Also, Lashbrook does say Cowboy Bebop episode 1. There is a good hot dog. There's some good hot dog stuff in that. All right, so we have our shark, but we're going to work on our legs for our shark. We're going to add some height to the shark, so we can put that aside a little bit. I knolled 2 bags. We have 1 bag left beyond that. We're going to put this here so we can still see it because it's cool, and our hot dog friend over here so we can see our hot dog friend. It's laying out, hanging out. Sonic Racing 2019 Game of the Year. I wish there was a Sonic close to me. I could get a hot dog. Yes, Asmo. Jaleel White is the name of that actor. You're totally right, Lashbrook. I've never played a Sonic racing game. I've certainly played. I played Mario versus and Sonic at the Olympics. I played at least one of those, but never that. So yeah, so I knolled 2 bags this afternoon to kind of get a head start on our kits here. We are building, both legs are identical, so we can build them at the same time. And so we don't have to go through all the steps and then turn around and go through all the steps again, which is good. Yes, there's a lot of, I'm trying to think if any of the food anime shows I have ever had hot dogs. I don't think they have. I think most of the food anime I watch has not involved a hot dog. Certainly noodles, plenty of ramen and other type noodle dishes have shown up in the anime stuff that I consume. Food Wars certainly has plenty of noodle dishes in it. I played some of All Stars Racing Transformed. It was pretty decent, but I'm mad they made a Sega racing game without Kiryu or Majima. Yeah, I guess they wouldn't. It's this weird thing where, because the name of the games are Yakuza, in our heads we internalize that as the name of the games. And we don't think about how, if you're making an all-ages racing game, maybe you don't want to have characters from a game about the mafia. Like, I don't know if they would be like, these characters are from Mafia 3. Like, that's the kind of the equivalent, Maybe you don't want organized crime in your all-ages romp. Although, clearly, Dr. Eggman, Mr. Robotnik, Dr. Robotnik, not Mr., sorry. He didn't go to medical school for me to call him Mr. That's the quote, right? But like, Dr. Robotnik, certainly a genocidal killer, allowed to be in racing games. So there's certainly a double standard. Put Lincoln in Mario Kart. Asmo, I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna end up happening. I don't think we're gonna see that. I actually would be really into them expanding beyond beyond like Zelda characters, like more of the Mario or the Nintendo universe. Like I think the Inklings should 100% be in Mario Kart. Uh, I think Ink Kids in Mario Kart is a no-brainer. Uh, or like Pikmin, you know. Uh, Mario Kart Party combined. I mean, there already is the Mario. Isn't Mario Party 9 or 10? Isn't that the one where there's like the main mode is the four of you in a car driving down the track? So it's kind of technically already is. Meow, meow. All right, let me get back into this building here. I know that's a stretch. All right. To there, to here. Boom goes the dynamite. The racing is kind of BS, so it just make it worse. Epic says, I have not played a Mario Kart since 64. I just played it over the holiday, over my holiday break. I went to a party thrown by friends of my parents. I now only kind of know these people from these parties. And this year, the people that hosted the party, their son, who's about my age, and daughter, who's only a couple years younger than me, and her fiance. He's a big gamer, and they are less of that. Um, but he recognized that my shirt was a Giant Bomb shirt, and then I was like, I'm in the top 10, and he was like, what? It's like, yeah, I did a guest top 10, and that was very fun because he knew what I was talking about. But we played some Mario Kart. Um, Quite a few games of Mario Kart. We also played Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, which if you told me that at a party thrown by my parents' friends that I would play the portable Oculus and Keep Talking and No One Explodes, I would have said no, no, I will not be doing that because that doesn't make sense. But it happened, and it was pretty cool, and it was fun to play Mario Party or Mario Kart. I should say, not Mario Party. So I played Mario Kart with some people. It was cool, but it was really cool that he was like, I didn't give last name for Lincoln because I couldn't remember if Mafia 3 was Lincoln Clay or Lincoln Ghost. And then I remembered what Lincoln Ghost is from. Hell yeah, the Ghost Brothers. Gotta respect the Ghost Brothers. All right, there. I gotta see if somebody has done like a wikia or a giant bomb thread that like chronicles the stories of um, the Beast Crew RPGs because I forget a lot about what happened, and especially I'm definitely going to forget. Well, I actually won't really forget this last one because I wasn't in it, so I was actively listening. But like, I definitely forget the heist, like the first heist. I'm definitely like, meh. I definitely remember the second heist more. But that first heist, I'm like, I do not remember what happened in there. I hope there's somebody has chronicled that. But yeah, it was really nice to play a few games and see some people in that respect, and didn't think I would be getting any gaming in outside of like stuff on my laptop. But for the most part, when I was away, I did not play any games really. I played a little bit of Hearthstone. More work for Marino. Yeah, yeah. No, I'm sure somebody has kind of done some write-ups on that, or if they haven't, I'm sure I could just ask, and it would. Or if let me, if Alex or Vinny asked, "Hey, has anyone written down the stories?" Or even Austin, I'm sure somebody would chronicle those for all of us. Board says, hi, Pat and everyone chat. Hi to you. They are a joy to listen to. I go back every once in a while when I want to listen to something instead of music. Oh, Road, that's awesome to hear. I will say that until it was revealed that she was a villain, my hacker character, I had plans originally to make her a Venezuelan. Her last name was, her hacker name and not her real name. Uh, that was my big plan, and then we didn't play her because we revealed her to be a big bad character, um, and so it didn't work in the story to play that character again. But that did not. That was in my notes as for the character, and it did not come back out. I hope Allie brings out your sexy doc in the future. It was pretty great. Um, that character is fantastic. You're not wrong. At one point, I wanted to create a Bombcast wiki just to keep track of just stories about the compound, but I always have more pressing things. Yeah. Um, Harold is now hosting. Thank you, Harold. Much appreciated as always. Your support is always greatly appreciated, my friend. I got to separate these pieces here. See if I can do this. All right. So what I want to do is I have these two pieces here. They are locked together. You can see that. I'm going to put them on this and try to separate them off of this. Now, I might just pull the two apart, but hopefully I can pull it. Yes, I can. All right. Hey, that's something you can take with you. That's nice. On occasion, I can give you some tips. That's what happens when you have stuff connected like that and you need to separate them. I don't often recommend knolling the way I knoll. My style of knolling, by stacking things and connecting pieces like that. I'd much rather say you should do something like this. This is a great way to stack and connect them because you can find them all together and they're easy to separate. Whereas something like, I don't know. Hey, I don't have another example, but something like this allows you to easily separate them. I definitely recommend that as far as knolling goes. And now we could just put all these things together. Board says, the very first Bombcast I listened to, they were discussing what if they would try cannibalism. I almost never listened to them again. I get that. Sometimes you just tune into a thing and you're like, wait, no, I don't know. Those tools are lifesavers, says Asmo. Asmo, you're totally right. These are complete lifesavers. I wish I had them when I was a kid instead of using a butter knife, I believe I used as a separator, which worked, but every once in a while would just keep going, and then you not stabbed yourself, but attacked yourself with a butter knife. Because that was my makeshift wedge. Dumb thing for me, when I first heard of Giant Bomb, I heard about UPF, so my impression were that their content was mostly very formal, and Fridays were a weird time where they weren't. I was confused. Yes, people always ask, in their fun jokes about, well, when are you going to do a professional stream? Because I'm Professional Fridays. But you also have to look at, Unprofessional Fridays was also, like a bit of a, replacement for the Whiskey Media show, which in some instances was kind of like Comic Vine took that show very seriously. Occasionally they would have just silliness and they would do voiceover stuff, but a lot of times Comic Vine's contributions to that old media show was kind of informative. If I know, which to be honest is rare, I stack and also cross-check against the inventory in the manual. Most of the time I just don't. I spent 5 years listening to GB, and since I didn't like GameSpot video reviews, I didn't see a quick look for a while. I mean, Sin, the thing that I've heard from them, and I think the numbers back up, Giant Bomb has noticed this, is there are people that just listen to the Bombcast that don't engage with the site. I mean, they hear that a lot. That there are people who, they're like, I don't really want to watch videos, but I think y'all are funny and entertaining, and it's another podcast I like listening to. And I'm sure that also is for the Beastcast as well. And there are also probably some people who, through personality or whatever, or because one comes out on Tuesday nights and one comes out Friday when they wake up, listen to the Beastcast and not the Bombcast. Especially the personality-driven stuff like that. It's totally plausible. And that's always kind of interesting. But yeah, I definitely know some people that don't really engage with the site at all. Maybe they subscribe to the YouTube channel. Uh, like there are a lot of premium stuff that I don't watch. And since as heck I only knew of them from the Brodeo and their guest appearance on the last episode of One Up Years with the Apocalypse. I mean, I will credit my friend Porter when the what is referred to as the One Apocalypse, when the major uh, basically site crushing layoffs happened. Suddenly, most of my podcasts, which were One Up podcast, went away, and I did not have like a bunch of podcasts to listen to. And of course, I started with Geekbox and Rebel FM because those were people who basically started their own podcasts with no site backing. So I went to those. And then my friend Porter was like, "Oh, you should try Giant Bomb." And I knew of Giant Bomb, I knew of Jeff, but I hadn't really watched a lot of GameSpot at the time, so I didn't really know all the personalities. But it was like, "Oh, it's a funny podcast and it's informative," and you know, so I started listening to that and was happy I did. But yeah, I wasn't one of those like people that followed Jeff from GameSpot. Uh, I came in a different way. Uh, yeah. I mean, I'm the same way. I went to Geekbox because a bunch of my friends, people I knew. I knew Karen. I knew through mutual friends, um, and consider Karen a friend. So Karen Chu. So I wanted to do that, and you know, especially at the time when Phil was, Phil Kohler was on Rebel FM, and when it was like basically the sequel to One Up FM, I certainly was engaged in that content more than other like stuff. And yeah, I was like, okay, I'll give this a shot. I think I heard about GB because someone mentioned them on Rebel FM. Yeah, that's totally possible. I know that I know there were a few folks that ended up on it because Arthur did a guested on a Giant Bomb quick look. It was the Connectables, the animals game, um, which is one of my favorite things about uh, like the cool things about living in the same city as other people is I think that started because Arthur had like reached like joke has semi jokingly reached out to Ryan saying, "Hey, I want to be in on this quick look," and so he did, which is just like that's just fun. That's like fun when that stuff happens. When it's like the good part of Twitter. When people can kind of connect and find something fun to do together. I think that's pretty neat. And rare when it happens, but it's cool when it does. Connectimals with bears. That's right. Uh, the only good line from Phil that I remember is, "Who the fuck are you, Arthur?" Yeah. Uh, Lashbrook says doesn't remember how they got onto GB. Yeah, Sin. Yeah. I think he had done. It's that weird thing where it is a weird thing that like okay, so I got to do this one more time. Uh like that thing got him in the industry, which is interesting. Like the end of a website as people knew it was the thing that got him work. But of course, he was new to the industry and a bunch of people had just been laid off, so suddenly you can get work. It's very weird. There are a couple people from that era. Oh, well, I don't want to say, I don't know if I can say who, but a person from that era who worked for One Up, who kind of disappeared off the face of the earth and just kind of went private life, not editorial, recently kind of reappeared in my life in a way. They work for a company that I have done some work with, and it was like their name was listed in in a company newsletter, and I was just like, wait, is that the same person for that was like a games journalist, and they're like, yes, and I was like, oh, the world is weird and small. But I like I said, I don't feel comfortable saying who. Um, but yeah, it is a weird world where sometimes people that you like you don't know because it's all internet stuff, but like you know of and you know them from a thing, suddenly they appear in another part of your life and you're like that shouldn't be a thing. How does that work? The world is small. Is what I'm trying to say. Like I have met people that I've become with friends with people that I was a fan of, and a lot of times still. Alice went to Media Malco. Yeah, she went to uh, yeah she went there. I've never met Alice. I would like to meet Alice. Alice is great. Um, Asmo says, I'm a long time GB watcher, but didn't get into the podcast until 3cast with Gary Whitta, Jonathan Blow, Septo, then back and listen to the whole back catalog. Syntax says, talented folks find interesting jobs. You're totally true. But yeah, I guess, I don't know. I guess I can say, I won't say what company I know he works for because, it is also public record and people could find out. But uh, Scott Sharkey works for a company that I have done some business with, and it's a weird world. And like that's not a name that like I've ever heard again, because I was just like, oh, Scott. I played a lot of games recommended to me from Scott. Uh, so it is an odd thing to be like, oh, Scott Sharkey works here. Weird. Um, Sector 7, first of all, hello, says, which is why I never try to burn bridges. Uh, the world is too small and things tend to come back and haunt you. And then Sensei says, that's nice. I donated to Scott to help his brother keep his parents' house a few years back. Yeah, I did as well. But yeah, I mean, that's like, it is an odd thing to like that. It was a name that I was like, oh, I'll kind of keep an eye on what they're doing. That's somebody that like I kind of like what they do, but I certainly didn't think that I would. I haven't worked with them, but like I said, he now works for a company that I've had some dealings with in 2018, and that's an odd thing. Uh, 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 yeah, I like to think that I haven't in especially in comedy like so many people that I knew when they were figuring things out or on their way to figuring things out or getting well known. I've worked with a bunch of people over the years, and I like to think that I have a good rapport with those people. Um, and and there's like even the people I really didn't like, I've managed to like be professional because in almost every case it was a work environment. But it's nice that like a few times folks have been very generous with me, either like letting people know what's going on or like uh, every Kickstarter I've ever done, Bobby Moynihan has retweeted it, which is huge and incredible of him. It's very generous of him. Always appreciate that. But and I got nice feedback on a few things here and there, and some people have said nice stuff. When a couple weeks, a month ago, when a old school friend of mine, longtime friend of mine, not old school, longtime friend of mine, passed. Uh, it was nice that some of the folks that knew him and knew me reached out, and that was really nice. Um, but yeah, people have been, generally like I've been good to people, and they've been good back. So that's that's always nice, I guess. And then the hope is that like the people that were shitty, you at least were cordial with, because who knows. Um, but there have only been like a few people that I've been like openly, and also like when I'm openly dislike someone, it's because like they're garbage. And it's never like, oh, I'm trash talking this person, whatever. It's usually just like letting people know that are about to start working with someone, like, hey, this is a thing that happened. This is what this person's like. Please be aware of that. Please protect yourself. Like, I'm not doing it to be like gossipy or to be like, hey, this guy. It's generally like, this guy sucks. You need to know this. Please. That's usually how I try to treat that stuff. Um, but I've also been blessed to work with a lot of incredible people. So I've been very lucky in that respect that I work with really awesome people that, you know, I can say very nice things about. Or at least constructive things. Because, some people aren't awesome, but they're funny. That's my big life lesson, folks. And you can extrapolate it. When I say funny, you can replace funny with talented or creative or hardworking or a genius or whatever you want to say there. You can extrapolate further if you'd like. But when it comes down to it, you got to be incredibly talented in order to get away with being an asshole. You got to be so good at your job, so smart and so well done, and or like doing things well, I should say, or in the case of what my world, really fucking funny. Like I'd much rather, especially when I'm doing things for free or for or I'm investing my own money in. I'm not gonna work with an asshole. I'd rather work with someone who's like not as funny. Like, you have to be incredibly talented to get away with being a jerk when you're starting out. Uh, yeah, I mean, then the hammer falls. I'm mostly talking to like people that are self-centered and selfish and clearly out for number one. Like, I got no time for that. Like, you have to be really good at your thing for me to be willing to give you the time of day. When it comes to like actual harmful behavior, uh, that certainly goes, and then we're done. I don't think I ever met someone that talented. Like there are people out there. I don't have a good example because then it's me talking shit. But there are some people out there who aren't like the nicest people in the world, but work very hard. And you're like, okay, I can appreciate how hardworking you are, even if I think that you are not cool. All right, so then we're gonna put these on. Um, like I've definitely worked with people that I'm like, yeah, we're not going to be friends at the end of this project, but I understand where you're like in general. I can appreciate the work you do as being very good. Happens all the time in pro sports. The stars can be assholes, and everyone looks the other way. Yeah, I mean, athletes are certainly instances of that, right? What you bring to the team can outweigh who you are as a person. And people will look the other way or make excuses or because the bottom line is the bottom line. Yeah, I think sports is definitely a world where people can holy shit, look at this thing. Look at this goddamn thing. Ah. Oh wow. Or like there you go. Claws. These claws are incredible. All right. Yeah, I mean, I think that there are worlds where you can be an asshole and get by. Um, Aaron Rodgers, but his odd caring about the disaster that affected his and my family was a thing. Mostly, I hate that my town now loves Green Bay. Yeah, okay, I get that, Sin. Yeah, I think that's like a thing that people have to reconcile with. But I'm definitely like I don't give a shit about like moody geniuses really when it comes down to it. It's like no, like I have so much patience and empathy for folks that have issues being social, but I have very little patience for folks that have decided that their brain power can negate being a good person. I got no time for that shit. Uh, This may be an extreme case, but it seems like Louis C.K. is a prime example. As much as he fucking sucks, he was hilarious when we didn't know how truly shitty he was. Asmo, I mean, that's always a thing, right? It is a thing where like, but also there's there were years where people in comedy knew this is not a good dude, but it was like one of the things that sucks is like we don't talk about like shitty people, like uh and like it's tough because you have this weird thing. It's a weird boys club and it's a weird nonsense thing and it's rough. Um but the world of comedy is very bad about that, about protecting its own and making decisions uh on who is right and who is wrong and who we can give a pass to and who deserves to be protected, like many other uh, groups, and it's tough. There's a pattern of that pattern of behavior of protecting people is unfortunately very real and completely shitty and awful. But yeah, really really terrible that way. Uh, yeah, it's hard. It's and you know there's careers that were ended from people that speak out, and sometimes it's that turning tide. It's uh, Hannibal Buress is not the first person to on stage talk about Bill Cosby, but he had a big enough platform and was protected enough, and also has an attitude where he doesn't give a shit. Seemingly has an attitude where he doesn't give a shit that he was able to be protected, whereas other people who spoken out were not, and it's fucked up, certainly. But yeah, it just was fortunately like enough that people were like, yeah, wait, yeah, and it's tough. Oh, a lot of yes. I mean, Asmo, it's all the same. I have maintained, being that I am into comedy, comic books, and video games, the same behaviors exist in all of those. The same gatekeeping, the same misogyny, the same protect like boys club, protection, uh, all of that exists in all those communities, unfortunately. Um, and it's and I barely touched board games, but like I would not be surprised to hear any of that in there. I'm sure there's like all that stuff like exists in those worlds, and it's very tough uh, to be like it's hard not to feel incredibly discouraged to continue to work in industries like that, and you hope that you can be part of a change for it. Uh, and it's a lot. It's a lot of it, and it's a rough thing. And I don't make claims to have any of the answers. I just try to work with good people, and uh, I will say that there have been times where everybody knows some stuff they can't talk about, and I'm going to leave that at that. Uh, but I have made it as best I can my mission to work with good people and to disassociate myself from people when it is revealed they're not good. Uh, there's a ethical consumption is very hard, and you're totally true. Uh, it's yeah, you can't put people on pedestals. Epic, you're totally right. And it is the thing, we don't really know people until we know them. Um, it's a weird thing. This cult of personality thing. Um, I'm not yeah. It's a strange thing. I'm not saying anything revolutionary there, but all right. So I'm gonna put this aside here so we can look at this. Ooh, this focus is bad. Let me see if I can fix the focus on this. But yeah, a thing that I say quite often is you try to support people that you can, that are doing work that you appreciate and like, and then you do your best to break away from people that are troublesome and awful, uh, and that's the best you can do sometimes. I'd like to think that some of the people that were very, very unhappy with me uh, a few years ago um, on the internet, that were kind of funny stands, that were very unhappy with me, are less unhappy with me now. I hope that a few of them figured out that liking a guy doesn't excuse them from being shitty. Uh, because I mean, look, other people got it way harder than me, from way longer than me, um, but it certainly wasn't a great little bit of time for me on the internet when suddenly there were a lot of people who were very upset with me for thinking a dude sucked. Thinking a shitty dude was shitty. But it was also nice because I had a bunch of people who were like, wait, if Pat doesn't like this guy, he's probably really terrible. Which, Sin, as I said, that was me with Bob Mackey. That was like that was me being like, if that dude doesn't like somebody, maybe that guy sucks. Uh, I look. When it comes to working with them, like I have a good rapport with folks there. Uh, I like the work they do. I might have some disagreements with certain people about certain things, but I'm not here to be an asshole about that. Uh, my big thing, personal issues with people have kind of been cleared up, but my big thing was that like we have to be okay with saying that people suck when they do. Uh, and like I said, if it's your friend, or if it's somebody you like you've built a cult of personality around that person, it can be incredibly difficult to be uh, to want to even accept the notion that somebody fucking fundamentally sucks. Uh, Especially when you invested energy in friendship or personal relationships or business relationships. Like that stuff isn't easy, and I never claimed it to be easy, uh, but is necessary. You got to be able to recognize when you're working with trash. You got to be able to recognize it. uh, Bob's Bob Mackey's only bad opinion is that birds are better than cats, but he is a nice guy. Yeah, I don't look. I'll say this: I've never met a pet bird that I liked. That's just my personal opinion. Never met a pet bird that I was like, "That's a cool bird." Never in my life has that ever happened to me. I'm fine with being proven wrong, but I don't think so. I don't think that's happened. 2, 3, 4, 5. One left over, I believe. We can go into the leftover. I had a bunch of these blue things of different sizes, and they were all like this, so I kept them in a bag to make my life easier. Um, I don't trust bird people. Yeah, it's not that I don't trust them. I just, like I said, and Harold's not a pet person, and that's fine. I get that. I love dogs. I love cats. There's only one dog in the whole world that doesn't like me, and unfortunately, that dog is owned by my landlord and lives on the first floor of my apartment. And that's a fucking bummer. That dog does not like me, which is a shame because I would like that dog. I like, but yeah. So generally, I get along well with animals. Animals love me. They're real into me. I think I'm pretty great. Uh, the internet is weird. Gamergate was trying to get Rami on their side, and he fucked up. Yeah, I mean, that's also it's a little bit of posturing because uh, that's I don't want to get into this because I hold Rami in with a lot of esteem and like him. I think he fucked up real bad, and I think that he isn't really taking as much responsibility as I would like. Also, a couple of my friends that I generally think are fantastic are being very critical of him, and it's kind of at an impasse. So I'm not really going to get into that. I think what he's doing is a cool project. I think he handled it poorly, and I'm going to leave that at that. Um, I don't think people should be attacking Danny O'Dwyer right now uh, because I don't agree with him about harsh criticism and negative criticism. I don't agree with the opinion he made, but also I don't think he should be attacked for it. Uh, and in general, I will say this. If you are a critic, it is important to know a lot of things. But one thing that seems to be very bad for you to do is to learn about game development. Because once you learn about it, you are suddenly very forgiving of fucking bullshit. Because you know how hard it is to make a game. I'm not going to tell you how hard it is, but it seems like the more game developers learn about, or more games journalists learn about game development, it's like, no. That's bad. Like, because I think that if something sucks, you can say it sucks, and I don't care if 100 people worked on it. I don't care if 1,000,000 people worked on a thing. If it sucks, it sucks, and you should not feel bad for people for working on a thing that didn't turn out great. Because if it didn't turn out great, it didn't turn out great, and it's like that's as far as I'm concerned. Like, yeah, it's a bummer to hear that people didn't like. Uh, um, it's a bummer that people didn't like a thing you worked on, and you can take that very personally. I understand that, but like, nah, you can call out a shit thing. If a thing sucks, you can say it sucks, and it shouldn't matter that like a bunch of people worked on a thing that did hard work on it. It's like, nah, no thanks. Um, but yeah, I think like at this point, I felt bad that Transistor was disappointment, but I didn't stand for that. Yeah, um, yeah, I love Transistor more than most people, but like I'm not gonna, like there. Look, here we go, here we go, here we go. Somebody that I think is incredible really hated a cartoon that a friend of mine is involved in. Like spent time talking about how much she disliked a thing that a friend of mine helped create and worked on. And that personally bums me out. But I don't think knowing more about how companies animate stuff and how that show got made would have like would I don't should make her dislike it less is what I'm saying. Like you like what you like, you don't like what you don't like, and that's kind of what, in my opinion, the way it should be. Like you can be educated on things, you can learn more about things. That's totally fair and true, and I want that for people. I want people to get educated in things and know more things about what's going on in the world and how things are made and all that. But like at a certain point, like I don't know, uh, like I don't know, I don't have a clear thought on this right now, which is why I have not weighed in on it. But for the most part, I am fine with people being critical about things they didn't like and even mean about it. Because every once in a while, like sometimes you just buy a game and it fucking sucks. And it's okay to say it sucks. And you're not saying that bad things because you're someone watching the stream right now. I know that you don't go out and threaten the people's families. And you don't you know, find out, and you don't mail packages to them about how they suck and send letters and hate. You just say, "Oh man, this game was bad and I'm bummed about that." Or, "If this was $30, I would have felt better about buying it." Like, because I know my community and I know y'all well enough to know that you're not trash. I know that you're not doing that, which obviously I have no patience or tolerance or anything for. I have no interest in that kind of behavior. But also, like, I'm not here to placate people for making something that's trash. Uh, yeah, Road, sometimes it is heavy topics. I think that. Even if the developer is your best friend, you have to tell them they effed up. You don't have to attack them, but you need to let them know so they can prove. Yeah, I mean, like, uh, I support Danny on Patreon. I think that the tweet thread was weird. Yeah, I mean, look, uh, um, I like, you know, is it weird? You know, I'm sure Giant Bomb felt weird of being critical of some rock band stuff because of the relationships they had with people who had been there and were still there. I'm sure that didn't feel great to be like, this isn't good. Like, like I'm sure that didn't feel great, but like, you know, I think sometimes you gotta be, you gotta do your job, and sometimes your job isn't being, nice. It's being honest, and also like, that's not to say that like you need to shit on everything, but sometimes things are worth shitting on because they're shitty. Almost everyone goes into a project with the best intentions. That doesn't mean they all get to be great. It's okay not to like something and even hate it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's totally true. Like, I try to give things the benefit of the doubt, and then sometimes I actively choose to not play things that I know like aren't going to be something like I haven't played Fallout 76, and I know that like Zorb's hit like level 100. Zorb's from the chat here really likes actually found that he really likes Fallout 76. Uh, I am very bummed that there's a Fallout game that exists that I'm not gonna play. Like, that's weird to say. I I mean, Fallout New Vegas is one of my favorite games of all time. I genuinely liked Fallout 4. Uh, I liked Fallout 3 a lot, and it's a bummer that there's a modern Fallout game I'm not playing. Like, that's a weird thing. But I'm disappointed in it, and I will be vocal about that. But I'm not like yelling at my friend Sean. But also, like, Sean's a big boy. And, like, Sean can handle the fact that I don't like the game, that he is a community manager for the company that makes it. I don't know if he necessarily works in it. I think he's in partner relations or something. But, like, yeah, I'm not going to be like, oh, Fallout 76, that seems pretty cool, just because he works for Bethesda. I mean, Sean Baptiste, one of the best people out there. Highly recommend Sean Baptiste as far as cool people. But, like, I'm not going to say I'm not fucking disappointed in Fallout 76 just because Sean rules. That's not going to happen. I'm also not attacking him for the game being bad. And I want to make that clear. No, I'm not. Well, I am also not going to bother. I'm not going to tweet at Todd Howard and says, "Hey, you fucked up Fallout." Like, I don't. That's not productive. I don't give a shit about that. Road says, "I'm the person who loves Fallout 4 way more than 3 and New Vegas, and I'm not going to bother with 76." Yeah. When it was announced as an online multiplayer, I knew it wasn't for me. I just feel bad for the folks who were excited for it. Well, like, it still could be more for me. Uh, I don't know. Harold agrees with it. Sean rules. Sean Baptiste, good people. Rules. Rules. Uh, happy that he landed in a place that he's happy in. Um, but yeah, I mean that's just how I feel right now, and that could change over time. Like when it comes to that game, they could change it. That's the thing. Like it's a live game. There could be. I don't think they would include like a ship shows up full of human characters, like the Brother of Steel shows up, and suddenly there are humans populating the world. I don't think they're going to do that, but they could. They could give me NPCs, which would be the thing that I want about that in that series. I don't think they're going to give me that, but they could. In fact, I'm pretty sure they aren't going to give me that. Uh, but that would really go a long way for me to enjoy it more. Also, like, I'm not the kind of player that likes survival mechanics, and like I've never played survival mode on any of the Fallout games, but I don't know. I could try it if it's cool. Billionaire Banshee was super fun, so Sean, it's okay. I like that. Uh, I think the lack of companions and other character-driven NPCs is killed for me. Yes, Hector, that's kind of where I'm at. Uh, you had a horrible experience with Skyrim. I'm sorry to hear that, Harold. I liked Skyrim. I didn't love Skyrim, but I did like it. I'm not, it's not my favorite thing. I think I had more fun with Oblivion than Skyrim. But I certainly don't hate that game. All right, this goes. I think we're working on like a fin here, like a side fin. But yeah, I mean that's kind of my opinion on the Danny stuff. Is I do think that sometimes it's like you hear that, right? Anytime games journalists move into development, one of the things they clockwork say is, "Oh, hello, Ultron. Ultron 100 is in the chat. Hello." One of the things that they often say is, like, "Oh, I would be a different kind of journalist if I had known what I know now about games." And I'm like, "Well, okay, you probably shouldn't go back. Like, I don't think that Danny should go back to games criticism now that he is a person who is doing histories of game development and doing interviews with game developers. Like, it feels like now his, temperament has changed in a way that maybe he shouldn't, go back to that world if opportunity arose for him to do it. Because, like, he knows too much. And I'm not, like, faulting him for that at all. I think that's totally reasonable and understandable. Once you know how it's made, it's hard to not, like, be in their corner. Secret behind modern Bethesda is modding. The strong and talented modders are the ones that made me put 600 plus hours into Skyrim and Fallout 4. Hello, well, first of all, hello, board. Happy to have you. Yeah, I mean, I certainly love a lot of mods, and the Fallout mod community is a big reason why I would stick with a lot of games. That's certainly true. I was always for quality of life improvements much more than like, area building. When people would do the frost, like Fallout 4 frost and all that. Like, I've never been interested in that part, but certainly interested in that part of the building process of like people like adding NPCs, fixing content, fixing bugs. I mean, the fact that fans fixed one of Fallout New Vegas's endings, and then eventually Bethesda Obsidian patched it, but originally it was like a fan patch that did that is kind of incredible. There was a glitch when New Vegas first came out where you couldn't, no matter what you did, you couldn't convince the followers of the apocalypse to help the NCR in the Battle of the Dam, which meant that the best possible followers ending was unavailable. Like, you couldn't do it. And in my opinion, the one where they side with the NCR and then have a good foothold and get like some help is the best one, and you couldn't get it. So I was always really bummed about that. Let's see. The work I do, non-games, is hard and complicated with multiple moving parts. I know my clients appreciate the work, but the work I deliver has to not suck. And if it does, I better really understand how we get better. Yeah, I think that's a thing. Like, if people strongly react to the work I do, and they're like, sometimes they're misguided and don't understand, and I can appreciate that. That if people like, like, I'm never really a fan of when people were like, why didn't they do this? Because especially when it comes to games, there's probably a good reason they didn't do that. It's most likely not that they didn't want to do it and are mad at you for suggesting that, or like you're like, why did they do it like this? It's like they probably tried and they just couldn't do it in time, or it didn't work, or it actually made things worse and it's really not a solution to the problem, but you think it is. Like, I've never been a fan of that line of criticism, but certainly if you're like, this game is broken, you can say that. And I think you're totally within your rights to say that. I don't know. I'm going to take a break here. I'm going to put this one piece on here, and then I'm going to put the tail on here, and then, because there's more, the other sides, but I'm going to attach this tail piece, and then I'll take a break and talk about stuff and ways that you can help support the Build with Baer workshop and the various other projects I do. I just have to put this on here, and then we've got to put the others. We're going to build the other side for it too, but I'll put this on, show it off. First and foremost, consider subscribing. So we got our tail and our top fin there. If you're watching this and you're not currently a follower or subscriber, at very least give me a follow, set your notifications so you know when I stream. But consider becoming a subscriber. You could use your Twitch Prime coin if you have Amazon Prime and you link it with your Twitch. That's one way to support me. You could also spend real dollars, and that would help me. The money I make from this and my Patreon and direct things and YouTube all go into me buying kits and equipment. I just bought some hooks to hang because I found a pole that was long enough and to put some hooks in the wall, and now I can hang my green screen instead of the method I was using, which was Velcro, which eventually just kept failing and falling, and then I was using gaff tape as of Thursday. I just bought some hooks and put them on the wall, and it was like nothing, but that's money that came out of my tip thing, my coffee. So yeah, becoming a subscriber is hugely beneficial. It allows me to continue to create this stuff. And if you are renewing your subscription, always make sure that you do a thing where you let me know by clicking that thing, so you can do it while we're streaming, so that I can give you a shout out and thank you. You could also gift subscriptions. Board is a gifter. There are many wonderful folks have gifted subs, and that's incredible, and I thank you very much for doing that. You can do it anonymously, or you can do it and let people know. So that's one way to support me, and thank you for that. Another is my Patreon. I'm trying to get to $150 so that I can stream more for you. If I hit $150 a month, I will be able to stream on Mondays in the afternoon, and I will go up to 6 hours of streaming instead of the current 4 hours of build streaming. I still do plenty of bonus streams. I'll add even more, but I'll be able to add 2 more hours of building, because right now I can't justify the cost of going through kits that much faster. Adding so many more hours a week or in a month I can't justify that. I had $150. I'll be able to do that. I've done the math. I also have an Amazon wish list. If there's something in there you think would be great for me to build, Board sent me the Tall Geese 3 from Endless Waltz. We're building that after we finish this. So that'll be next week. Next week we will start the Tall Geese 3. Ultron says that shark is a large boy and it's got feet. It's got feet. You're totally right, Ultron. But yeah, my Amazon wish list. I'm going to take a quick look at that, see if there's some stuff that pops out. I put some Zoids in there. I've got a incredibly expensive legendary four-headed dragon that I don't expect people to purchase, but hey, it just dropped in price, so it's more reasonable. And I've got some model kits and stuff that people could pick up there that I would love to build. Yeah, and then I have a coffee. You could just do that. It goes to my PayPal. That goes into a fund, and I buy equipment. Generally, my coffee goes into a fund to just eventually I pull from and, pick up miniature equipment here and there. The way that I'm currently doing this is from that fund as well. I have a Discord. People post stuff they're working on. If they're doing model kits, they put that in there. People post links to their own streams because a few of y'all are streamers. It is a pretty quiet little Discord, but it's also nice, like the chat. I don't say this enough, but thank you all so much for being awesome subscribers and just viewers and chatters. This chat is lovely, and it's so nice that y'all are so supportive and cool. And then I do have a comedy show coming up, Shit Arcade, January 18th. It's a Friday. That is in 2 weeks. And that is Mike Drucker's show. We play some bad video games. So if you're in the New York area, you want to go out to Brooklyn and see a cool show. And also, it's one of the few shows that I do where I'm going to get a couple dollars for doing that show, which is pretty neat. But yeah, Gita Jackson's going to be in the show. Anthony Tamanik, who did Trump and the President show. Roy Wood Jr. If you don't know Roy Wood Jr., get on it. That's a fucking funny-ass dude. Katie Hannigan, who's fantastic and great. Lots of good people doing that show. And I'm excited to be counted among them. And I don't know if there's anything else. So yeah, that's it. That comedy show will not be recorded. Mike does not record that show. It is just a live show. But yeah, Mike does not record it, so it is a live thing only. Oh, what did I just do? I streamed. Oh, wow. As of today, y'all, I completed an achievement, and I have streamed for 250 hours total. It took a long time. Asmo says I won't be flying cross country for Shit Arcade, but I'll be thinking about the show and hoping it goes well. I appreciate that. Yes, thank you all for that. We have hit 250 hours, which is, a drop in the bucket for some streamers, but considering the fact that thank you very much, Ted. I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody. That is a lot of hours of streaming. And I'm very, very pleased about that. That's awesome. Yeah, a notification popped up, and I was like, what? The Empire business. Okay. Because we did hit another one on New Year's Eve. What was the one? Let me look that up before we get back in the building. Because we will get back in the building in a moment. But let me open that up. I hit talk a little. Get 10 people chatting at the same time. So on New Year's Eve, we had 10 people chatting at once. Or within a certain amount of time. I forget exactly how that works, but that's pretty good. We've also been good about the number of streams and the number of hours streamed and all that in 30 days. That stuff has been good. The big thing that on the road to partner, which is a long road, the road to partner is views. Viewership needs to jump not exponentially, but quite a bit to reach a realm to be considered partner, to like apply for partner. And I am not near that. Uh, and I'm not necessarily hunting for partner. I think partner would come a lot more responsibility to y'all and would mean that I would working a whole lot. But uh, Epic says Pat is on his way to be. Oh wow! What? Oh, bored. Bored. What are you doing? Pat is on his way to be Ninja of Build Streams. Board just broke all my notifications. Board just gifted 5 subscriptions. That's incredible. Thank you so much, Board. That's unbelievable. All the subscribers, throw that Bear Cave emote there in the chat. That's wonderful and so nice. That's 5 tier 1 subs. That's so nice. Thank you so much for that, for Board. And we are now, again, tied for the most subscribers I've ever had at one time, which is awesome. But yeah, it finally caught up. So those of you that now are now have your month, enjoy the month. Enjoy using your emotes. And if you want to look at archives on Twitch, I think that you can get them in HD or whatever. Mostly it's just benefits me. It just gets me that much closer to being able to get my next payout from Twitch, which is incredible. So thank you very much for that, Board. That's a wonderful tip and lovely. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, please, everybody, thank Board. That's so nice. And then let's get back into building. We're gonna work on the other part of our. We did you can see here we did the fins here and the tail, and now we're gonna work on the other side of those. So we can add that like that. But yeah, like I said, I'm not looking to necessarily, become a partner. I mean, it would certainly be cool to hit partner, but it's not like a priority for me right now. It opened up a lot of doors. It would certainly get more viewership. So I talked about this on Twitter a bit. From Twitch doesn't really do a lot of. They give you plenty of analytics, right? But it doesn't give you the granular analytics that you get from YouTube, right? YouTube gives plenty of stuff. So I was looking at some of my analytics, and the videos that did very well for me were improvised postmortems. I'm going to try to do one of those in New York this year so I can put it up online because those have done very well for me on the internet. People seem to like them, and they're long, and people watch the whole thing. The video game ones certainly are going to do better than probably the comedy ones, but who knows? Maybe some people will watch it anyway. So I am looking to do that. Do more of those because those did very well. Can we start a petition that all real-life U.S. submarines must look like a shark? Epic. I mean, I'll sign that. I'll sign that petition because I think it adds a lot of character, certainly. But let's see. And one of the videos that did really well for me, which has always done well, is I don't make any money off it. I don't monetize this video, but I have a clip from my brother and me. It's the Thank Travis for Travis bit because it wasn't on YouTube, so I put it on YouTube because I wanted to hear it. So I went and found the bit and put it up, and that has done very well. People really people search for that, and it shows up in people's analytics or whatever, So that's always a crowd pleaser as far as numbers go. People watch some of my other stuff. Some of my Let Pat plays have done okay. Most of it's just nice to put that stuff up there. But I looked at demographics, and the demographics are most of the people that watch my YouTube videos. This is not Twitch, this is YouTube. Most of the people that watch my YouTube videos are from the United States, and are overwhelmingly have identified in Google as being male. Um, and hey, welcome y'all. But and then anecdotally from the subscribers who I know from other social media and how they where they listed how they identify for folks that I have mailed stuff to, predominantly y'all are male as well, and in general cis male. Uh, as I said, that's more anecdotally because like I'm talking about subscribers, not viewers. Um, and I welcome everybody that's cool, right? If you're nice and thoughtful and you're interested in what I do, I'm thankful for you. And I'm not saying don't come and don't hang out. But I am saying that I hope that in the future, and in one of my 2019 goals is to make sure that folks who are marginalized, who are othered, who are not, you know, straight white males, know that this is a cool place where they can come hang out and they'll like it. And also, like, that is not to say that folks, like, I'm also aware that I am, like a white male, a cis white male. And so maybe some folks, Harold gave me a cheer there and says, keep fighting the good fight. I appreciate that, Harold. Thank you. Epic says I'm a French poodle. I just tied it well. Well, that's nice. I'm happy. I'm happy to have some support from our animal friends. But no, but I seriously like. I understand that maybe folks are out there supporting other marginalized streamers and not me, and I don't, and that's fine. But I want to hope. I'm hoping that there are folks out there that know that this is a cool place that they are welcome in, and that's my hope. And I know that also a lot of it is cultural, right? Especially in the United States, like there are plenty of folks who were not encouraged to become builders. I can only speak for my experience, but my experience was that Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts had the Pinewood Derby, and the Brownies and Girl Scouts did not have an equivalent. And that while Duplo and Lego might be something that everybody had, when you move on and out of that, and as people got older, it certainly wasn't encouraged as much. And so that might have something to do with folks just not coming from a building background. And as much as Gundam Wing opened the door to a wider crew of people than just young dudes that love mechs, it probably didn't do enough to really encourage mech-loving folks. And that's a shame. Epic says, I was never good at the Pinewood Derby. And Harold says, I think I have one of my old Pinewood Derby cars somewhere. I was terrible at it. I mean, I was a bad designer. I was okay at assembly, but my design was bad. I never did well in it. But yeah, I think like that's, my hope is that I can encourage folks to check out the stream, because it also is nice. And we're gonna do a little anime chat here in a moment. Okay, so let me just, we talk about anime stuff, we talk about pop culture stuff, we talked about some large issues tonight. Like, that is the thing that I'm never shying away from. Those are things that I am happy to talk about, And then also, like I said, now that we're in the second half, it's time to talk about some anime. Now, of course, there's not a lot of anime to talk about. The new shows are starting. In fact, I have not watched it because it came out and I was trying to get ready, but there is a preview that's only lasting until Wednesday when the first episode goes out of The Rising of the Shield Hero. And I think it's like the first 2 episodes back to back in one video, so I might check that out. But I did watch 2 anime. and I did watch a live action series. Epic, feel free to shoot that anime question before I get into discussing the shows that I did watch um, since Thursday. Feel free to throw in that question. I will do my best to answer it. Or maybe someone in the chat will have an answer. I will do my damnedest to help you out. So, yeah, feel free. Yes, anime is bad. Question answered. Comes from Road. All right, Road. Bad can be good. That's all. That's what I'll say to that. But yeah. We're working on the rest of our fin here, and then I will attempt to answer the question when it comes in. I'll say this because I still don't have a good opinion on it. I'm not sure. Anime trash is everyone's treasure. I like that. Epic says, I have never been into anime, but I love the Netflix Castlevania show. What should I watch? Wow. Okay. So, probably an action show with some humor. I will say that the easiest recommendation for anime in general, when you want to watch something that has some action, because obviously Castlevania has some action in it, is Cowboy Bebop is fantastic. No vampires in that. Sector says Hellsing, which does involve vampires, and is pretty gory. There is some humor in it. The humor's weird. The humor is like odd. It's some odd ass humor in that show. So I don't know if Hellsing is probably great, but like Cowboy Bebop and Trigun are like tested and true, fantastic action shows. I was in this boat a few months ago, and some people recommended Cowboy Bebop. Asmo, that's right. We did talk about Cowboy Bebop, which I think is a show that you can recommend to folks, because I think like there is an overarching story, but there are also episodes that are just like fight of the week. Hello, Isk. Welcome. Happy to have you here, Isk. What kind of movies or TV shows are like? Yeah, I mean, like if you like the Castlevania, you might like vampire stuff. Hellsing might be interesting to you. Shonen stuff might not necessarily appeal to you. The kind of like action stuff, the action series, they're very long in many cases, so that might not work out. Trying to think, yeah, but yeah, folks have suggestions in the chat. It's on Hulu, and I've joined what I've watched, but I haven't watched a lot because I've been busy, distracted, says Asmo. Yeah. Sector brings up a very good point. Dubs versus subs doesn't matter with Cowboy Bebop. Yes. In general, there are some bad dubs out there. And there are some good dubs out there. Cowboy Bebop is a good dub. So I was just watching a clip. Now, High School DxD, I don't recommend that at all. That series is terrible. But the dub of it is infuriating. I was watching a clip on YouTube because there's some action scenes I like. Sometimes it does get interesting. For the most part, that's a terrible series. But they literally had a character say word. And I was like, fuck off, Adam. Fuck off, you dub. You're a terrible dub. I was really pissed off about that shit. Well, I tried My Hero Academia, for example, and did not like it. Well, My Hero is interesting because it is a very Western, like, flavored anime. So, but also it is still very shonen. Like, it's about the journey. Like, shows like Naruto. Like, Naruto is goofy for a very long time before it gets, like, serious. And there's some serious stuff in it, and then it goes back to being goofy. And then it gets serious, and then it becomes, like, silly. But it's the journey of discovery and building, and it's a lot. Whereas there are other shows that Gundam 083 Stardust Memory. Yeah, I do like that show. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend it in this case, but yeah, it's hard. I'm trying to think like yeah, like there's like I said, there's classics. I don't know if there's any modern classics right now. Anything that I would be like unequivocally like, uh, you might try, because I think it's on Netflix. Um, you might try One Punch Man. One Punch Man is kind of a interesting take on the genre. It is, I think, generally sometimes very funny and interesting, and it's yeah, you might like One Punch Man. I think that might be a cool thing to check out. All right, so we're putting another fin on here, getting there. I haven't been able to think of anything. The darker theme stuff I watched hasn't been really humorous. Yeah, like I didn't watch Devilman Crybaby, and I know some people really liked that, but that did not seem interesting to me at all. So I did not give that a chance. But I know some folks really liked that show. I'm not really into the dark stuff per se. I think I want dark, serious, but does have fun sometimes. Well, Epic, you might like Hellsing. Hellsing is like he's basically the best. He's the most badass vampire in the world, but he is been cursed to have to help out humans defeat other vampires and monsters, and then eventually Nazis. Um, and so, and it's weird in parts. You might like Hellsing. It's pretty goddamn dark. Uh, the old or like is dark gore action and a dash of comedy. Yeah. Um, or like I I've tried every time a Baki show has come out. I've tried to get into Baki because I do like martial arts stories and it's so over the top. Uh, I let's see, Helsing. Let's see there. Um, so it looks like Funimation. So Funimation has Hellsing. It looks like, and it looks like it has the Japanese and the dub. So Funimation, and looks like that is where you can watch Hellsing. Yeah. It might be on Hulu as well. Okay. I don't know. I just Googled it and it came up on Funimation. I'll admit I have not watched the show in a while, so I watched the last time I watched it. I can't remember. So, all right. So let's talk about the anime that I did watch. First and foremost, I am not ready to stop watching, but also am currently not invested in Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. Some people really recommend it as a show I should give it a shot. I have watched the first 3 episodes. Not super impressed, but I'm not enjoying it. Like I kept watching it, but it didn't really do anything for me. So I'm not sure if I'm going to watch all the episodes. But I know a lot of people really enjoyed it, and it was highly recommended by folks. So I am going to give Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai more time. And I'm not put off by the name. Apparently the name is kind of a misnomer for what's going on in it. But like, I'm not put off by the name. I just didn't really like what I've seen so far. All right, so now we're going to Knoll Bag 6. We're done with bags 4 and 5. So we got a Knoll Bag 6, and we'll get some building done on bag 6. We'll put their extras away. You see our shark over here. I'm going to put our shark on the floor so that I don't knock it to the floor. Right? But we don't have that many pieces left. We're on our way here. Let me go back to chat, see what we say. Hellsing is on Hulu. Oh, that's good. Berserk is another dark fantasy series. Yeah. I don't know if the art holds up of the old Berserk, and I think the new Berserk art, I hate it. I know some people have no problem with it, but I very much do not enjoy the latest Berserk series art. Not into it. But yeah, it's pretty raw. Okay, so let's see. Uh, Nekopara, the OVA Extra. I watched that. It came out in the summer, but I just never got around to watching it. Nekopara is a series of was a visual novel series that is on Steam, and then they crowdfunded like an hour long special, and then I can't remember if they crowdfunded this OVA or not. But there's also another OVA which is before the actual series, and it's cute, and this one's like half an hour long, and it's fun. And I just never got around to watching it, but like I said, there isn't new stuff coming out right now. I mean, the new stuff is coming; it's just not out. And then every show, just about every show, got delayed this week. So like basically nothing came out this week at all. So I ended up finally watching that, and Nekopara is very cute and fun. Uh, Initial P says, "Hey Pat, first time here in the workshop and all this anime talk. As a Giant Bomb fan, this is exhilarating. I'm happy to have you here, Initial P. Thanks for jumping in. I'm glad you're able to watch it live. The archives are on my YouTube if you ever want to go back and check anything out. But yeah, this is kind of what the chat is. We talk about pop culture stuff. We talked about some games journalism stuff earlier, and shitty people and not being them. And now we're doing a little anime talk. Yeah. But Nekopara, I've never played the games, but I don't know, cute cat girls and it's fun, and I don't know. It was the two cat girls celebrating Christmas for the first time, and it was really cute and fun and light. And I don't know, every once in a while, cute and fun and light sounds real good. Because sometimes things are dark and bad, and I'm like, meh, I don't know. And then I watched only one episode, because there's only one episode available, but there is a long-time series in Japan called Why Did You Come to Japan? It is a live-action show. And apparently, Crunchyroll is getting some of the archives of that over time. They don't have it. They just put up like an episode from 2013, so it's not like they didn't put a whole season up. They just put up like an episode. But it is a show where they go to an airport and like a news crew and ask foreigners, "Hey, why are you here?" And then do like human interest pieces on the folks that they interview. And the first episode was really fun and nice. And it's also like, anytime you tell me that there is a subtitled Japanese television show, I'm at the very least interested, because it's not a thing that I, like, that gets subtitled that often or dubbed. So or at least dubbed actually in English and not just completely rewritten, So I was intrigued, and it was kind of fun. It was kind of neat. And of course, the people they're talking to are kind of lively weirdos. But I would recommend it. It's called Why Did You Come to Japan? It's not an anime. I didn't know this was a full show. I thought it was a morning show segment. Yeah, it's like a fucking full show. Also, Initial P says, I embarrassingly got addicted to Initial D about 10 years ago and haven't turned back. Hey, for real, Initial P, do not apologize for liking Initial D. That's a fucking great show. That's a show that got me like over my distaste for computer generated anime. Like, I still prefer the hand drawn style, but the cars are incredible in that show and look so good. And then the thing about Initial D that I always will love is that the cars were 3D modeled and the animation was digital but hand-drawn style. And the rear view mirrors were always looking in the backgrounds but weren't 3D. The rear view mirrors of the cars were always they were non-computer generated. And I just think that's an incredible weird detail, and I love that about Initial D. Also, the music kicks so much fucking ass in Initial D. Initial D's music is incredible. Uh, all over the place. All of it is good. It's all incredible music. Highly recommend. Just fucking Initial D soundtracks. So good. The live action movie isn't great, but that's why would it be, right? Um, Epic says, I played my first Final Fantasy last year. I played 15, so if there's an anime that is based on a cool road trip, I could be into that. Well, there is Final Fantasy Unlimited, or I think that's what it's called. There is a Final Fantasy anime that's kind of cool. I don't know if it's licensed anywhere. I think I was watching it fan subbed years ago. Um, Road says, that reminds me that I really need to finish Terrace House. Yes, I really liked what I saw, but got distracted when Breath of the Wild came out. So you got distracted a little while ago, Road. Okay. But yeah, I understand. Sometimes you just you're like, oh, wait, shit. I wanted to watch that thing. You just forget. All right, so not many pieces left. I don't think we're going to, I might stay a little long and just finish this up today. Or really wrap it up if it's looking bad. But in half an hour, maybe we'll finish it up. 20 minutes. But yeah, I think Hellsing is a good place to start. Epic. I can't really think of a road trip anime that might do it for you. I mean, the Journey to the West, those shows are always usually pretty good. I just can't think of one like right off the top of my head. Okay. Wrap this around. All right. Yeah. I mean, also like the genre I'm most into these days is slice of life, and I understand that that is not everyone's cup of tea, and in fact, some people are like, cannot handle slice of life. I need things to happen in my anime. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. But like, I'm also real into friendship, so just people like figuring a thing out and doing a thing. It's like Laid Back Camp is my anime of the year, so and a lot of my top 10 anime this year were looks like some sort of Depth Charger goes in here. A lot of my top 10 was slice of life stuff because I just really genuinely enjoy that genre. It does it for me more so than most other things. All right, we're going to put some fins on here on the side, looks like. And we've got to put some numbers on these. So I'm going to use our wedge here, kind of help get those in. And once again, with these are decals, so if I mess it up, I can always redo it, and I'm also fine with not being perfect. I'm okay with messing up. Also, decals do allow you to mess up more, so that's also really nice. But yeah, I am fine with not being perfect when it comes to applying these. And there is some give and take. Keep putting this down. I should probably just leave it up, but I worry about it. Alright, so I'll show you that in a second. Let me attach these here. And yeah, I'm excited about some of the new titles. Of course, I'm excited for Monday to get the episode that we missed of the episode, because they took a week off of a lot of shows, a lot of ongoing shows, including that time I got reincarnated as a slime. So there you go. That's the side panels. And we'll do more of that in a second. Just put that there. Anything else that needs to go on the side. Oh, yeah. All right. So we're going to do this. This is annoying because we're doing a lot of things that we could probably do two at once, but they're just having us do it one at a time and then flip over and do the same thing on the other side, which while I understand, is also a little annoying. All right, and then we got our hover things here. It looks like a little more stickers. Epic says, I will admit I watched one episode of a show because Jason played a perv game based on the show on UPF. That show was just pervy gross and did not watch anymore. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not here to say that, you can't sometimes find some fun in some of those shows. Uh, and sometimes you take the good with the bad when it comes to your entertainment. Um, there's some fucking pervy jokes in one of my favorite shows the last couple of years, interviews with Monster Girls. I think overall it's a really great, fantastic show, but it does also it is also like a thing where like sometimes you're like, ooh, well, for anime that's not bad, but for everybody that's not good. Uh, uh, I can't remember what show it was that oh, I really like and I talk about it on the here quite a bit. One of the genres I like is isekai, the person reincarnated or traveling to a fantasy world who is then very good in that fantasy world. Uh, that time I got reincarnated as slime is in that genre and is one of the best, if not the best, of that genre. Um, but in a certain respect, Inuyasha is that. Um, but um, but one of the anime tropes that unfortunately goes hand in hand with isekai is harem, and just kind of I'm not here for that. I'm not into that. Uh, I'm glad that slime has, for the most part, avoided that shit, but it's also it's still there. So a show that I was kind of into that liked 2 seasons ago or last season was How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. I think How Not to Summon a Demon Lord was interesting. I love the idea of a guy who was so good at an MMO that people thought that he was an NPC, and then he gets summoned to a fantasy world in the character he was playing, as the character he was playing, in that body with that person's powers. Uh, and I think that's an interesting place and kind of cool. But then also, that show was gross and annoying and fucking dirty and weird, and I wasn't into that. So it's okay, can't really recommend this because it's gross in a lot of ways and shitty. But the idea is kind of cool. Inuyasha, still some of the best outro songs. Very good outro. Very good music. You're totally right, Sector 7. Very good music in Inuyasha. All right, so we've done stuff. We put a wing here, a fin on there that also holds swords. As you might remember the minifig that owns this thing has holds two swords. So I guess he has sword holders on his fucking shark. So now we're going to build all the stuff we just built, but we're going to do it on the other side. And it'll be basically the same thing. Same decals applied. And yeah, we'll finish up by finishing that up. What do you think the next big genre that anime will latch on to? Well, I think we're going to see a lot more shows about video games, like the world of video games and people playing games. I think Recovery of an MMO Junkie, while not my favorite show in the world, was a proof of concept that you can tell story. And Gamers is another show that's about gaming, but it's about the people who game. And I think that genre is here to stay and is going to just get more and more popular. Less of Gale Gun Online, the side series from Sword Art Online, and less of those kind of woke up inside a video game. Those will always be popular, but I think that gamers, people who game, is gonna infect slice of life and romance shows and in the same kind of genre as sports anime. We saw that in that Chinese show that is about a probably too old for this MMO player that gets like screwed over by the evil company that is, new management in the evil company, and he gets like pushed aside and has to like branch out on his own. Uh, is like an interesting, weird thing, but that show was apparently incredibly popular. But I think that that's oh sorry. Road says gamers rise up. But yeah, no, I think that Gamers was also it was just like a romantic like high school show that about a group of game players. I think like that's I could also see uh, board games are just starting to really break in Japan. So I expect to see some manga and then anime about board games and board games as the in the same way that like I really think that in the same way they're anime about Go and chess and that kind of thing. We'll see that about like board games and esports. I think that that's coming. Um, and I also think that shonen shows are due to really be heavily influenced by My Hero Academia. I think My Hero is going to change. We'll see that soon. We haven't seen it yet, but we'll see that soon. Um, I think the structure of some of the shonen stuff is going to be less One Piece and Naruto and more My Hero. Uh, is there an Overwatch anime? I would watch that. There is not an Overwatch anime, but I could see that. I could see people trying to do more licensed content, more anime based on stuff. I think we're gonna see how this. There's always been the live action component, like the live action movie or the live action series thing. I think that's we might see more of that. I don't know. I'm sure there are other people really thinking about it. Like the thing is, I don't keep up with Japanese manga that much or webcomic stuff. I mean, the fact that this year there were several anime based on visual novels, I think is telling of maybe where things are going. Like, I didn't watch that. What's the name of that show? There was an anime, and I forget the name of it, that was based on a like a Japanese indie game. Um, and I apologize for not remembering the name of it, but I thought that was kind of interesting. Um, but yeah, it was what was it about? So it was a there's two characters. They're escaping by murdering people. He's got a scythe. She's weird and can't show emotion. I forget what it was called, but that Angels and Demons or Angel and Devil or something like that. Angel of Darkness. I don't know what it was called. Like it's generic, but that was based on like a Japanese indie game, and I could see that becoming a little more influential. Uh, the Batman Ninja anime movie. Yeah, okay. If you like that, you might like the X-Men animated anime one. That was kind of interesting. Um, they did the anime Overwatch short. Yes, I could see. Yeah, I could see people digging those characters in more of a storyline thing. Yeah, I don't know if that's actually really like they're gonna do way more show. I mean, the thing is like there's a Monster Hunter anime. Like that's always been a thing. Uh, Angels of Death. That is the name of it. Board. Yes. I don't think that show's that great, and I got off of it pretty quickly. I jumped ship, But it is kind of interesting that there was a anime based on like a Japanese indie game. I think that's like pretty fucking cool. And I don't know if we'll see more of that or not, but it's kind of neat. All right, we are getting close to being done here. We're gonna power through and just finish this up because we don't have much left to build with it. Here we've got these pieces, so we'll be able to finish things up. We gotta finish the cockpit, I think. Let's see. Yeah, I have like I'm excited for some stuff. I think I've talked about that. Some of the shows. I'm excited for more Mob Psycho. I'm excited for more Saiyaman. One P. One Punch Man. Great Saiyaman. I'm excited for was Enro? Yes, Enro, I think is the name of it. Dororo. I'm excited for that. That's on Amazon Prime, so I'll have to watch that on Amazon, which is always a little weird to remember. But yeah, there's a few things that are coming out that I'm pretty excited about. Alright, so I guess we're building the cockpit now. Finish this up. But yeah, we'll go over because it's Saturday and I got the time to finish this up, but I don't want to come back to it for like a minute on Oh, there was a Heroes of the Storm anime. Yeah, Lashbrook. I think like you might have been you were thinking of Heroes of the Storm, but there's also like a couple, the Overwatch has done shorts and people have been really into that, and of course people would say like, "Oh, I watched an anime of that." I mean, they've done the work. But I think people being swallowed into video games isn't going to go away, or fantasy worlds. That genre is here to stay. Very messy genre. Like Rise of the Shield Hero, which, as I said, I did not watch the special, but I will probably end up watching that tomorrow ahead of the actual episode coming out, I believe, on Wednesday. This shark rules, says Asmo, and totally right. Epic says, I love anime purists with scoff, but I totally watch Batman, X-Men, Spider-Man anime because the name I knew. I know those characters. No, I mean, also the interesting takes on things are interesting, and like, yeah, if you don't have a point of reference for things, it can be tough. Same way that like some people watch, they're like people that would say, oh, I don't watch like that kind of thing. Oh, but I'll watch this. Like that happens in so many different genres where people are like they just need a way in, And sometimes that's somebody being patient with you as they explain what's going on with the show, and sometimes that's just like a genre that you're like, I don't know anything about this genre or this style, because that's what it is. Honestly, there's a lots of the anime Marvel stuff is all right. Yeah, I mean that's kind of where I'm at. Matt Pasquale just cheered 69. Nice. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. We are almost done with our shark here. Our very good shark. We're going to put the, I think this is like the cockpit, but it's in the back, so I guess not. Maybe it's like just a hatch. Put that in the back there. We are almost done with our beautiful, wonderful, giant robot shark. Yeah, I mean, so the real thing is that when it comes to anime is it's just Japanese cartoons, right? And it can be anything. Anime is your big, incredible things you could never do in real life. Action takes on genres, and anime is Hana Yoridango. Hana Yoridango is just a soap opera. There's nothing incredible about it. There's nothing revolutionary about it. It's just a soap opera, but it happens to be anime. But the styles and the takes on it are different, Uh, and the anime takes on Marvel stuff are kind of interesting, and I do like those. Robot Shark, do, says Harold. Harold, you're not wrong. Yeah, we're getting into. Oh, this is cool. I mean, that's like I said. That's the thing about this kit is that I haven't seen this movie, so I don't know what the deal is with this thing. But we're building the. Basically, we're about to build the periscope, and I didn't know that this thing had a periscope, so I'm pretty psyched about putting it together. Because like I said, didn't know there was a periscope. This is very fun. Very silly, very fun. Happy to build it. Um, Ultron says, I just remember the old D&D cartoon, and that's totally another stranger in a strange landing. Oh, yeah, no, Ultron. That is definitely it's definitely a U.S. isekai. That and this terrible show. We've talked about this on the stream before. This terrible King Arthur anime where like a football team, Merlin summons a football team they're the knights and the quarterback happens to be named Arthur and he summons them to the past and then gives them magical equipment for their football gear and they become the new Knights of the Round Table. And that's a show that exists. That's a real thing. And one of them happens to be really good at making weapons for no reason. Oh gosh, that show is terrible. But that's another like example of that like stranger in a strange lands. And then the isekai element of being sent to a place and then being really good at what you're doing when you get there. Yeah, that show was syndicated in like the late 90s, I want to say, maybe even early 2000s, and wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. All right, so these are our kind of missile things. They're rubber tipped, which is awesome. So they can take. Oh, that's annoying. Um, there we go. They're rubber tipped, so they're not going to hurt too much. But they go in here, go in there, and then you fire them by, you can see this on the bottom here, this red piece here allows it to shoot. So if I pull it down, oops, no, I got to pull it back, that's right, not down, back, and they shoot. I will say, despite GB now having a DBZ podcast, I still don't like DBZ. Every time I try, I feel like they talk way too much before they fight. There's a lot of talking. That's a show that is high on dialogue as much as it has many episodes that are just fighting. You're not wrong. I have a special place in my heart for Dragon Ball. I love it very, very much. But I get what you're saying. Oh, they're like lasers in the back. That's kind of cool. All right, so yeah, so the things that the things on this is that these are missiles that can shoot. The mouth opens like this, and you can move the things to open the mouth. It's got feet, as they say, and then I could put minifigs like back here. For like the rear weapons, and then you could put a minifig in here as well, where the periscope is. Oh, and that just fell off there. And you can pop this open and put a minifig in there if you want as well, because it is, I guess, a submarine, so can't really see the people. Goku is a bad dad. Yep. I finished the major parts of my drawing. Yay, not exactly a build, but something productive to do while listening. Road, that's awesome. I love that when folks work on stuff. You know, some people do minifig painting. As always, you can always tweet me stuff that you're working on the stream, off the stream. If you're working on anything, you can always send that to me, and I always retweet for folks that are watching the stuff I do. Always happy to support folks in that way with retweets and the like. Shark's done. And then also it's fun to just, you know, I got the Discord. You can jump in the Discord. But that's going to do it. We built this in 2 streams, which I'm surprised about. I thought it would take longer, but, you know, Lego, even at 800 pieces, it doesn't take that long to put Lego together. Obviously, it's going to take more. So on Thursday, we are going to start the Tall Geese 3. Tall Geese 3, Endless Waltz version, board. Purchased that off my wish list. Thank you, Harold. This was a great stream. Let's once again thank Board for donating so much. That was 5 gifted subs. We are at 39 subscribers right now, which is tied for the most I've ever had, which is rad. Asmo, I love this shark too. I bought this with 2 Amazon gift cards and some of my own money because I knew that it would be a cool build, and it really, really fucking is. But yeah, it looks very cool. And I was happy to build it. I will be back with my normal build stream next Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I put my schedule is going to go up on Monday for folks. Regular streams on Thursday and Saturday as normal throughout the entire month. And then on Monday, January. Monday, January 28th, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Yeah, let's say 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m., something like that. Maybe 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. I'll be doing my bonus monthly game stream where I play games. So that's the last Monday of the month for folks that want to join that. I'm going to do at some point next week, I don't know when, I'm going to do a bonus singing stream. Good night to everybody. Thank you very much for hanging out. But yeah, I got a bonus singing stream coming up. Twitch Sings. I'm just going to stream from the app so that I can do some stuff with the webcams that I haven't been able to do by using OBS. So I'm going to do that and stream from the actual Twitch Sings app. But thank you for hanging out, and archive will be up tomorrow for everybody. Patreon gets it tonight. Have a good night, everybody, and thank you very much for hanging out. Bye-bye.